Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we are planning November 2024. As usual, I'm starting out the video by showing you the items that I chose for the theme of November. I don't really have a name for it, but it's like warm, cozy, spring, but vintage, and also probably more autumnal. I don't know. Anyway. This theme is based around the Floral PET tape you just saw. I got it from Journal Say at the start of the year. I just really loved the neutral but rich and warm vibes it gave me, but since I'd already done a very brown theme with my steampunk video in June, I wanted to add something else to it, and I decided that a teal and a brown palette would look really pretty. I basically just went through all my supplies and chose anything that I thought might work with the feeling I had in my brain. So not everything I showed here will end up being used, but as you know, my style is pretty try and see, so I gather a lot of materials and try everything until I'm satisfied. I think looking at the items that I chose for this theme, I went more with items that fit the feeling rather than items that maybe were more cohesive thematically or that tied together cohesively, it's different than the way I normally do things. I think ordinarily I would choose a theme, say the main element is a floral, and then everything around that would have to complement that floral element or allow it to stand out on its own. Whereas this time, obviously I chose the floral element as the main theme, but all the accompanying bits were chosen for the warmth that they held, the colour, or the feeling that they gave me, as opposed to are they necessarily vintage, or does lace work with this theme, or is this speckly paper, does it match the theme and the flower? It's more like, okay, no, but colour wise it matches and it brings me the same feeling that the floral PET tape brings me, and that's kind of how I went through and decided what would work and what wouldn't. Also, please appreciate how chunky my journal is. Thank you. So I recently watched Erin Smith do a video on waterfall tabs, and even though I've already done them in this journal in my July video, I really wanted to do them again. So here we are, starting out by cutting all the tabs out and adding the washi tapes to protect the edges of the pages and make them pretty. I started out using my craft knife with a ruler actually, but I still haven't gotten around to getting an A5-ish sized cutting mat, so it really wasn't working out well for me, so I reverted back to the trusty old scissors. I do plan to get another cutting mat soon though, because I think I actually get a straighter line cutting it with a ruler and a craft knife rather than using scissors, because I can't cut straight to save my life. I will say though that the next time I do this, if I don't have my cutting mat and craft knife, I'm going to use regular size scissors for this type of cutting and keep the pretty ones for smaller items. I have strong suspicions that that may help with the cutting straight thing. For the cover page, I chose this font that I found on Pinterest and sketched it in freehand, just using the image as a reference. Originally, I was really happy with the placement of the lettering until I realized the washi tape would encroach on my letters, and the waterfall tabs would mean that I had to slightly squish the letters on the right page. By the time I realized that, I'd already done more than 4 of the letters, and it took me ages, so I couldn't be bothered trying to reconfigure it all. And I figured it was good enough. It still bothers me every time I look at it though, but not enough to wish I'd gone to the effort of redoing it. Also, side note, this is actually the only place in this theme that I use this font. I wanted a statement for the cover page, but it seemed like too much for all the other spreads, so I just left it at that and used a simple script hand lettering for the rest of the month. And I know I said that I did it earlier, but I didn't, I'm doing it now. So now we're doing the washi tape on the edges of the pages for the protection and the pretty. Also, this like coffee stained paper, I mean, I bought it from Journal Say and it said it was a washi tape, and I spent hours trying to peel it. Probably not hours, I'm exaggerating, but I spent ages trying to peel it off its backing only to realize that it's not a tape, it's paper, and that's why I had to glue it down. But it looks pretty regardless. I've been really wanting to use these ornate frame stickers that I got not too long ago from Journal Say, so it was really fun to have a place I felt like they would actually work. I really love the vintage feel that this brings to the whole theme. I don't actually use them on every single spread either, and usually I would use the same elements on every spread for cohesiveness, but I actually think this time it was better to use them sparingly, and I love the effect that they bring overall. I actually went back through my washi tapes to add this thin one in. I felt like the spread was lacking something, and the little touch of the blue-green colour and the gold stripe made it feel like, it just made it feel finished to me. The downside is that I didn't think of it until after I had stuck down the frame stickers, so I had to kind of like finagle things to get it to sit where and how I wanted, which it was fine, but it really just highlights the problem that I see as the biggest one when decorating the way that I do, the try and see method. And now I'm just going through and adding materials in to populate the whole spread and make it feel done. I don't necessarily have an idea of when that will be. I try things out, I place things in different spots, I move things around until it looks or feels right. And at some point I step back and I look at the spread and I go, oh, that feels finished. And then I stop. So I have so many issues with my corner punch for real. Because I messed up the top corner of the page when I was using the corner punch on it, I had to use my scissors to cut it and fix it, and now it just looks stupid, and I'm still really bitter about it. Later on in this video, I actually start using the corner punch upside down so that I can see where I'm putting the paper, and I think that solved all of my issues, honestly. I'll probably be forever using it upside down from now on. Another little detail that I really like is using some of the floral paper frames I have and cutting them up and gluing them on the page as like little branches. I also cut out little floral stickers and leaves from the PET tape and stuck them on the branch thingy so it looked like it was blooming. Moving on now to the calendar spread. This month I decided to say no to rulers and freehanded all my lines. I did this throughout the whole setup, and most of the lines I drew with a broken pattern to it to add to the delicate feeling. I actually really love how most of the freehanded lines look actually. Normally I think I'd be annoyed because they're not perfect, but I was digging it this month. Overall though, I think this might be my favourite spread of the whole month. The gingham pattern that you'll see soon with the paper flower frame and a flower on top, I don't know. I just really love how it all came together. I'm also really glad I rounded all the corners of my craft papers and also rounded the corners when drawing the freehand boxes. It adds a bit of softness, I think. This is the moment where I realised I started numbering the boxes incorrectly and I was so annoyed with myself. I just went over the numbers with some whiteout tape and then grabbed a gel pen to redo the numbers I needed to fix because the micron doesn't write nicely over top of the whiteout tape. I actually planned to put a notes section where the gingham pattern is, but I so rarely use them on my calendar spread, so I decided to just leave it out. More space for decoration. Also, this frame was such a pain to glue down. Luckily I had a glue pen, which helped a lot. It was definitely worth it in the end, but as you can see, I had to go in with a glue pen and tweezers, and it was a whole thing. I felt like this page and the theme in general was lacking some of that pop of the teal colour that I wanted. There are some parts that markers would add that colour back in, but I wanted it throughout the whole thing, and I found some of these blue/green leaf stickers as well as some plain teal washi tapes in different shades. So I went back to the cover page and incorporated them there and popped them into the calendar spread as well. I think they brought the exact thing that I needed. It also helps tie the theme cohesively together throughout the whole setup. Shout out to the little sneak peek of my December setup that you get to see here. I hope you're looking forward to that one. Now we're starting on the next spread for my habit trackers, or as I call them, my self-care trackers, as well as my mood and symptom tracker. To add in the warmth that I wanted, I'm using a lot of craft paper throughout the whole theme, and for my self-care, I thought it might be fun to have a little interactive moment for each little monthly tracker, so I decided to cut into the craft paper and use it as kind of a pocket. This didn't go entirely to plan, but I do still love how it ended up. The first issue was that I glued too much of the edges down to the journal page. This meant when I cut the little pockets for the trackers, I couldn't have them near the edge of the craft paper because that was glued down. My original idea was to have one pocket cut per tracker, but because I miscalculated the edges, I ended up having to cut right through the middle. So rather than having two separate pockets, it was just one large pocket and both of the inserts would fit into it. I hope that makes sense. Even with that, though, getting the trackers in was still a little bit tight, but I used some tweezers to gently separate the glued edges a little bit, just to make slightly more room, and it works. Well, it's fine. It'll be fine. I'm keen to try something like this again though and use what I've learnt from these mistakes to do it better next time. And welcome to me being an idiot and constantly rounding edges before checking the paper actually fits where I need it to. I swear I did it like 5 times. I don't know why I'm like this. As usual, here's more mistakes. I coloured in the 2 columns where I write the numbers and days for the tracker, but I did it before I actually wrote the days and the dates in, so that when I went to write them in, the colour was a bit too dark and all of the numbers and the day of the week letters were all off centre. And that was made super obvious when I went back to add the lines in for the boxes here. You'll see when I get to it, but I actually end up cutting a piece of journal paper from the waterfall tab offcuts to the same size as the 2 columns, numbering it first, gluing it down, making sure it all lined up, and then went over it with the colour, which worked out much better and would have been easier had I done that the first time. I just wanted to say a quick sorry about the lighting and outfit changes in this video as well. I normally record these videos over 2 or 3 days, but I've been really sick, so I ended up recording this over about 2 weeks. Sometimes I only had the energy during the day when I normally record at night with my lighting turned on. I could have closed everything up and used my lighting during the daytime, but because the weather's warming up here, because we're coming into summer, and I've been so unwell, I really wanted the fresh air and sunshine. Yeah, in order to get this video out in time, I had to sometimes record during the day because of energy levels and being unwell, so yeah, sorry about that. This next spread is for my sleep tracker and my songs I'm into page. I ran out of the thinner craft paper that I was already using, so I had to grab some cardstock that was a similar colour and then use that for the rest of the layouts. my journal is already so bulky that I was trying to limit the extra bulk added, but I realized I'd already added so much, you know, with the paper flowers and other things that I'd used for this month's theme, that I just decided I may as well just give in and go with it. I also actually end up adding in a few more of those decorative ornate corner frames for the first time since the cover spread. And just adding a little bit more of the gingham pattern here. I was unsure if the cool grey tone was working with this theme, but because I'd already started using it in the first section that I did it, I had to commit to it. But looking back at it now, I think the cool grey helps balance some of the warm tones, so in the end I'm not totally unhappy with it. This is the final spread for this month. It has my November at a glance and things I'm into section, as well as a mini cover for my weeklies. My November at a glance is something that I've been doing since the very first journal spread I ever set up, and it's just my way of memory keeping. I like calling it whatever month it is at a glance because it kind of allows me to not just do memories but also events or little things or big things or bad things or good things, you know, just anything that might be fun to look back on or important to look back on that I won't remember because thanks ADHD. I'm actually thinking of expanding my at a glance section in my journal coming into the new year. I'm hoping to get a mini printer so I can start printing out photos and things like that too, and maybe doing a full spread for every month where I can print out photos as well as write down any little memories or things that have happened. But that's all dependent on whether or not I get a mini printer for Christmas or not. But fingers crossed. I think it'd be fun to start moving into a slightly more comprehensive memory spread. I have considered having a separate journal just for memories. I know there's a lot of people that have different journals for different kinds of collections and things. I'm not sure if I could keep up with that, so for the moment I want to trial just sort of having it all in one place. Do you have memory keeping in your journal? Do you have a separate journal or a scrapbook that you use for that sort of thing? I'm keen to know. Let me know in the comments. I messed up with my corner punch here and made the corners with the size that was too large, so I had to go through, cut that off, and re-punch it with the right size. Rather than doing all the tabs for my weeklies and the shorts that I upload for each week of the month, I'm doing it in this video instead. This way you can see the full effect of the full waterfall tabs and the smaller tabs all together. I used my craft knife and mini cutting mat to cut the actual tabs out, as well as to cut off the excess washi tape and make it all, you know, neat and tidy. It's so much easier than using scissors, for real. Also, for the tabs, I used the same washi tapes and paper that I used for the waterfall tabs in the same order. I actually finished off the final page of the whole month with the same teal washi tape that I've used on the waterfall tabs and the mini tabs. But when I did that, I feel like the tabs that were already the same color kind of blended into it, and I wasn't totally happy with how that looked, but I also didn't want to lose the consistency of using all the same tapes. I suppose I could have tried going with the lighter teal, but instead I took the thin washi tape that I used on the cover page with the gold stripe, and I put that in between the middle of the washi tape on the final page, so that way there was something small for the tabs that were the same colors as the teal to sort of bounce off of and stand out a little bit. I've left in a little bit of the process of me choosing what to put and where to put it when decorating. I'll pick up items, lay them in front, try them with other things and see what I like and what I don't like. When I took that jar sticker that was still on its page, I thought it'd be perfect with a flower on it, but it was really hard to tell. So rather than risking it, I just cut it off the page so I could test it without actually taking it off its backing. I was so glad I did that because just on its own, I actually didn't like it at all. I realized that there was a lid on the jar, so it just looked kind of stupid actually. Trial and error is just the way I do things. So yeah, I changed it up and I'm really happy with the final result for this little area. I just love what these little pops of greenery add to this theme. They're just so pretty. And here we are at the final flip through for the finished setup for November. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe so you can see more stuff like this. I recently uploaded a stationery haul and I'm currently editing my start of year journal setup for 2025, which I plan or hope to have out in mid-December. If you made it to the end of the video, leave me a little plant emoji in the comments because I loved all the little bits of greenery that I added to this theme. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with me, and I hope you're having an amazing time of day, and I will see you in my next video.